Good morning, guys. I am going to finish my project on my automatic watering system this morning. And so I thought I would kind of show you guys how I made one. I've got two more to make. I've already made two just for my raised beds. And I was just going to video a little bit of that so you guys could see how I made them. They're pretty simple. So let me show you one of them real quick. Okay, so here is one, and basically I took one 10, I think it's a little over 10 foot by just a little bit, piece of PVC and cut it in half. And then I had another long piece that I was making these short pieces here with. And I cut that in about 14 inches and then cut it directly in half to add that little T. And then of course there's a little piece of pipe in here to connect this piece so I could screw a hose into it. And then you'll notice this is like a hose connector. You can tell I cut the hose to add that. So what I did was, sorry, I just put my fingers in the way. What I did was I took an old piece of hose and I've been cutting it. And these little connectors come from Harbor Freight. They're $1.99. So what I can do is I can cut it in shorter lengths and connect it together to the second bed and then into the main hose. So we'll see how long these little plastic connectors work. Like I said, they were $1.99. I found nice like metal or brass ones at Lowe's and Home Depot, but they were $10 a piece and I was doing 4 beds. So I was trying to do this very minimal with what I have in this piece here. I think it's about $11 per bed making these, minus the old hose because I already had it sitting around. But, and you can see I've just drilled little holes into it and then put caps on the ends down here. You can see right here. So, and I made one for the other bed, and I've got 2 more to make for my other 2 beds. So I will show you how I put those together. So I pre-cut everything the other day into the lengths I needed. I already cut the small piece in half and put the T in there. It's not glued together yet. But this is the piece you cut into, and this is for my size bed. So you measure it to whatever you want. But the PVC pieces I bought, the one length, which makes the 2 sides, I want to say it was like 10 foot and maybe 3/8, something like that. But anyway, ultimately around 10 foot. So if you need something longer, of course, you'd have to buy more pieces. But I bought, for 4 beds, I bought 4 long pieces, and then I bought 1 extra long 10-foot piece so I could cut and make these short pieces. So this is what I have left after cutting for 4 beds to make these pieces here. So you'll have some left on that extra piece and can use it for whatever. And then these little end caps, and of course your elbows. And these are the hose connectors. It's got the little thing in there so you just can screw it on your hose, make it easy. I'm trying to make it to where, because I'm not going to gravel, put mulch down or anything like that around the beds. I'm just going to push a push mower between them. So I wanted it to be where I could disconnect the hoses easily, flop them up off the ground. So I'm going to clamp them up. I have the archways on the bed, so I can just pick them up, clamp them up, get them off the ground, and I can push mow and keep it kind of clean up around there. So anyway, so I got these 2 pieces. These 4 need holes drilled into them. I couldn't tell you what size bit this is. It was the smallest one I had, and it's worked perfectly. The first 2 I made, I used this bit, and when the water's on, it waters perfectly. So I am going to drill the holes in these, and I lay them on the ground, and I'll show you guys in a minute. I lay them on the ground, and I'm not measuring. I'm just like eyeballing it to put them. So If a project takes too terribly long, I won't stick with it. So I'm not going to measure multiple holes in a piece of pipe. I'm just going to eyeball it. It does what I need. That's great. So, okay. I'm going to adjust the camera so you guys can see me drilling these holes. So essentially all I'm doing is I'm stepping on it, and I know my cap is going to be around here, so I'm just coming in just a little bit, and I'm going to drill straight through. Pick it back up and kind of come and say, okay, I want it just a few more inches this way. It's not going to be perfect, guys. Okay. So you get the idea. I'm going to go all the way down that way. So let me get these all drilled and I'll be right back. Okay. So I have my holes drilled. I'm going to set these to the side so y'all can see everything. And then I have my glue. And the trick will be not to get the glue all over my truck. So, and it's what, 10 o'clock in Florida? I'm already hot and sweaty, so y'all bear with me. And I have to use pliers to open my glue, because once it's been opened, I can't open it with my bare hands. Do it. It helps if you turn it the right way. I always turn stuff the wrong way the first time. I'm just a girl who doesn't pay attention. Okay. So I'm just going to glue it all together. And probably get it all over me. It'd be fine. It's drippy. I'm sure I'm using way too much glue. Okay. I don't want that to get on my truck, so I'm going to sit it down here on the ground until I'm ready to use it. And then you want to make sure your holes, so they're drilled in the side here. You want to make sure that they're not pointing up when you put your elbows on. So make sure it's turned to the side when you're adding your elbows. And I don't know how much of that y'all didn't get in the video because my camera shifted. So hopefully y'all saw. Unfortunately. Anyway, if you didn't, I glued this together. So that's really all you missed. Okay. So make sure your holes are pointed sideways when you're adding these elbows, or your water's going to shoot up this way, unless you want your water to shoot up that way. I don't know what you're building or how you want yours to water. And no, guys, I'm not cleaning the pipe. I'm not. It is what it is. And the others have held together. I built them 2 weeks ago. They've held together. Don't say work, I don't care. It's not like it's for my house. No, we'll wipe that off because that was a lot. And I know y'all are probably saying, oh, well, you're ruining the glue, putting the thing back in there. I can guarantee you before I do my next project, this glue will be no good. Every time I do something with pipe, it's so few and far between that my glue is never any good to use. So, I'm not really worried about it. It's not that I'm trying to be wasteful. I just know it will be good by the time I go to use it. That's just the way my life works. Okay. So now I'm going to glue these into here, and I'm going to make sure that this piece is kind of pointing up slightly, because the way I'm going to have the hose that comes into here, it's going to be up at an up angle so I can hang it on top of the trellis and kind of clip it up there. So let me do that. I'll have glue all over my hands. It's okay. So just kind of like at an angle like that. I don't know if you guys can see that. Just don't ask me what degree angle that is. I don't know. It's called the eyeball angle. I eyeballed it, and that's where it's going to be. Okay. So those are together, and then I have to cut a little piece for here. Did I already cut that piece? Nope. Okay. And again, just a small piece because I need it to fit in here and in here. So I'm just cutting a little bit of a small piece. And like I said, I'm not being precise with this, and I'm just doing it the girl way. Whatever works. Okay. I'll have glue on my face too because I know I wiped my glue hands on this rag. And then this is going to go on next. This is your little swirly for the hose. Okay, now I'm going to go do the just the caps on the ends, just the little, and all this I believe is a 1/2 inch. Yes, I went with the smallest inexpensive piping. So some of that dirt off there. Okay. Ooh, that was way too much glue. Oh well. I'm doing this at 10 something in the morning on a Saturday on 1 cup of coffee, and I'm trying to finish my second one, so it is what it is. Okay, so that's one whole one put together. I will show you guys how I'm doing the hose. All right, let me go lay this down. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my hose. You can see I got a bunch of it right here on the ground. I already cut the first section that had the, I believe, the female end on it to use on the first cutting that I did. And oh, somebody's dog is running down my road. I've never seen that dog before. Anyway, so I'm using both the ends that came off the hose first. So this is the male end. I'm going to cut it at about a 7-foot section this way. And when I do that, I will add a female end to it, which I just realized I bought. I'll use my last female. So I'll be going to Harbor Freight, so I can't add it into this one yet. I don't know what happened to it. I had a bag that had 4 and 4. I gotta go search for my bag because I know I bought more females, and I've only used 1, and I know I bought 4. So let me go look at that real quick. All right, I'm back. I forgot they bagged them separately. I don't know why. But anyway. So you have, this one's a male. This one's a female. And so since this hose already has the male end on it, I'm going to cut it in a 7-foot section and add a female end to the other end. And then that way I can connect them. So let me get that done. Move the coffee that I probably will never finish because it's going to get cold and I've just been doing this. And I don't have to be precise. I'm just like going approximately 7 feet with my hose. So what's that? 6, 7, right there. All right. And of course, you know, the hose isn't stiff. It's a really cheap old hose. So I'm just going to go, let me get it. Hang on. I hate measuring tapes with a passion. There we go. And I know people that build things all the time are probably like watching me do this. And they're like, oh my God, this is hurting my brain. Sorry. If I'm nothing else, I am definitely chaos. So my husband cut the first one with a knife when he was helping me the other day. I want to see if this works. Never tried it on a hose before. There we go. That's easy. Sweet. Okay. And I did go get another rag, guys. I'm not wiping my face with the glue rag, I promise. That's my glue rag. So, all right. There it is. Try to keep all my trash in one place so it doesn't go flying away. All right, so that just comes out of there like that. And it has screws in it so you can loosen it up. Just like that. And then this piece here will go into this end of the hose. We'll see if I can get it in there. Oh, it's going in. I wasn't sure if I would get that in there. I was supposed to slip that on first. Look here. Yeah, that's not coming back off. So the screws have to come completely out. My husband, my muscle, is golfing right now. So I'm just doing things a little backwards. He would have told me to slip that on there first. So oopsie. We've discovered that when I do projects by myself, they're done the Elizabeth way, not always the right way. And he kind of, which anything I know how to do, he's pretty much taught me. So, so I can do projects by myself if I want to. We've been together since I was 15 years old. I'm 46. So pretty much we've learned life together and he's taught me this kind of stuff. Okay, that is on there. All right. See? And so because it already had the male end on it, I don't have to put one on there. But when I cut the next couple sections, I'll have to do a male and a female one of these. And ultimately what will happen is I'll have a main hose that goes to the garden. And there will be these 4 hoses, and I'll show you guys, connected to each bed. And then one main hose coming from them going to this. So I'm only going to use 2 spigots for these hoses to come. So it'll be like a Y connection with one single hose going from 2 beds, and then a Y connection, one single hose going from the other 2 beds into this. And then that way I still have a couple here that I could put regular hoses on, because there's some things that'll be hanging that I'll still need to water. And my turtles are over there, so I need a regular hose to be able to water them. But that's essentially the plan. So I will take you guys over there and show you how I connect this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the first connection I had, and of course I've got to adjust everything. I moved it around, putting these hoses up here. But essentially, you have this. It'll come up to this. This will have a single hose coming down, and we'll go all the way over down into a main hose where that 4-way spigot was. But that's essentially the setup. And then if I'm wanting to only water one bed, I can cut one side off or the other. And that's how all 4 of my beds will be. So, well, hopefully it lasts. But that's ultimately the setup. I do have to go get 2 more connectors, I realized, because the single hose is coming down from the top up here. I didn't buy connectors to make them a male and a female to come down and connect. So I do have to buy those. But that's it. And then on another note, let me show you guys my late bloomer here. My watermelon plant started coming back, and I was like, well, I'll just leave it. And she's thriving, and she's got a beautiful watermelon on her. So we'll see how that turns out. And this is the one we just built this morning. So that's the one we just glued together. And I'll get the other one glued together. And once it's all set up, of course, I'll video that. But that's essentially it. And then those are my buckets that I'm starting to do the, is it called hydroponics? I'm still learning. Anyway, doing the water system in the bucket with the baskets. So we'll see how that goes. I kind of stuck an old plant in there that was already wilting, so maybe it'll survive. Okay, guys, here we go. See, it's dripping. And I have like little grooves made in the bed. That'll all be leveled out. And so it's just going to drip. I can come out and let it run for 30 minutes. I can turn one side off if I need to, because I have them both connected here, so I can turn one off. Or, because there's the connection, eventually this will be on a pole. This is just how I have it connected. So that's my main hose, and then I have that hose, and I'll pretty it all up running there. So it goes down to each bed. We'll see how long it lasts and if it does a good job, but essentially I can just come out, turn it on, let it run for about a half hour, depending on how much water output it gives. If I just have one on, of course it is more powerful from one side to the next, so let me do that. Let me turn that off, and you can see it'll come out more if one bed needs to be watered more than the other. I mean, I don't care if it has to run for an hour, as long as I don't have to come out here and hold the hose. This makes it a lot easier for me. So the only thing, so all my connectors came from Harbor Freight. The pipe was Home Depot. The hose was old and laying around, so I cut it up. But other than that, all these, I guess they're considered brass connectors. All of these, this 2-way and this 4-way, that's all Harbor Freight. And the little green connectors, they were less expensive at Harbor Freight, all the connectors were, so that's where they came from. Well, the work work is finally done. I'm gonna go down to the pond and enjoy watching the ducks swim around and check and see if my crawfish are down there. And then at the end, I will share with you guys the wildlife that came around. We had a few does on camera.